Okay, so Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo still holds the record for highest indoor boxing event. I don't know if Allegiant Stadium, I call it the Death Star. I seen it when I was in Vegas. I don't know if they have a retractable roof. I know Jerry Road have, that's where AT&T Stadium where Billy Joe and Canelo fought. I know they have a retractable roof. So I'm not sure if Allegiant Stadium has a retractable roof, but it's indoor, right? And Crawford and Canelo surpassed Spinks and Ali too. They surpassed that. So yeah. So it's second behind Canelo and Billy Joe. They did a $9 million gate. Canelo Crawford just was under a $48 million gate. According to Dana White, that's third highest in boxing history. I don't know what's higher. I'm pretty sure it's probably a Floyd event. Especially, would make it probably more impressive. It's probably Floyd at the MGM Grand Garden or Floyd at, probably MGM Grand Garden. And that's with a 19,000, 18,000 seat stadium. I believe Canelo and them had a paid attendance of over 66,000. But they had 73,000. So they had comps and, comps come from casinos, comps come from, actually the fighters have to, buy their ticket most of the time for their families and shit. I didn't know they had to pay their hotel rooms, but they did 41 million on Netflix. Mike Tyson and Jake Paul did 108 million on Netflix, so they tend to bring that up a lot, a ton. I mean, it's Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, is a big name, and I think if Jake Paul fought anybody else on Netflix, even his brother, they wouldn't have got to 108 million. But this is why clown boxing is here to stay. You got Aiden Ross doing this thing. I heard doing very, very well. You got overtime boxing. So anytime you see things, people try to, find niche things and exploit it because nobody else is talking about it. The same thing for a lot of people that got into the YouTube boxing community. It was just a niche. They really was able to fabricate their way through it. And, most of these dudes don't know boxing. So even when I picked Canelo, I explain why I picked Canelo. People say, well, are you rooted for Canelo? I didn't root for Canelo. No, you could say I picked Canelo. That's the part, but I was rooting for Terence Crawford. So I didn't put no money on it or nothing. As far as, casino, me and Kobe best for shoes. He'll get his shoes when he get his shoes. I'm thinking about sending them for Halloween. Pay for him and say, man, just make sure you send these bitches on Halloween. He got to go to the Bronx. Yeah, I'm going to the Bronx. He got my cousin crib. He can get him from my cousin crib. But yeah. I mean, it's clown boxing. It happens when it's a void. And a lot of these guys left a void, man. They should have been fighting each other. They left a lot of money on the table. Um, but uh, but uh, but yeah, like I said, a lot of the YouTubers, they just found the niche. And then even a niche that they like. I saw some people find niches in, flowering and growing plants and stuff, and people follow how they grow the plants and make the flower beds and the wild greenhouses, and that's a great niche because that's something that you love to do, whether it's crocheting or sewing. These people, they found the niche because they can fake their way through boxing. That's why a lot of these dudes that get in boxing, they will never have a round table debate with somebody like me, blood boxing. Guys like that, Adonis. I mean, people who actually really know the sport. No historical reference. That's like I tell when I hear people talk about boxing, they don't make historical references. I already know. When they can never make any historical references or anything of key points, you already know what it is. But I feel like that was a good gate for them. 41 million is great. The gate was phenomenal. They sold more tickets than probably Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. And that was a clown shit, man. That shit was fake, bro. Allegedly. Because he wants to sit around here and threaten people. I had a plug from behind the scenes on that. But Just like Tank and Jake Paul, it's gonna be already, the outcome is already gonna be determined. So that's the crazy thing to me. But I thought, $48 million at the gate. That, they broke attendance record in the Allegiant Stadium. I think they broke the gate record at the Allegiant Stadium. You also had WWE do some things there. They did some great numbers. And he couldn't have, his fights are not as popular to America unless he has an American in there. Whether it's a Mexican American or somebody, you gotta be somebody like that. That's what really, drives. And unfortunately for a guy like Alexander Usyk, while Wilder is on the downtrend, that was his pedestal in America. Klitschko's never had that, and apparently he won't either. Anthony Joshua had it. He didn't want to take it. Joshua could have been the king of the U.S. He didn't want to take it. Tyson Fury took it, but you know, I guess, he not being Anthony Joshua, big and powerful, and knocking people out. Um, but uh, but I think they did a good job. The fight come on super late, was told to be in the comment section. That's what Dana White is known for. That's why I guess a lot of UFC fans probably like that he does do the fights in Saudi Arabia. They be on at 3, 4, 5 Eastern Standard Time. But amazing by them. This is for the real boxing heads. You know what I'm saying? We seen something that people in the comment section act like it's easy to do. The inactivity, the year off, the build, the bot. They did everything perfect. He did everything perfect, and still almost got robbed, which was one of my points as well too. Was the commission, and still almost got robbed. So when we start having these conversations, I mean, what he did, he had no room for error. And he locked in. Nobody in boxing can do that. Nobody else in boxing can do that. Honestly. So he's truly one of a kind. He deserved it. Made a lot of money on the gate. Put a lot of viewers on TV. I hear too many problems about Netflix streaming this time. Might have been a lag here, lag there, but you gotta understand when it's the first time and I'm doing something, they ain't doing no test run. They should have did like a test run before Mike and Jake Paul. They should have just did another fight card on there and just did it and seen how I stream. But production costs money, cameraman costs money. So the second time they seen kind of what they needed to do and it'll get better. So also they getting into the podcast game. And I gotta talk about that. It was an article that said that YouTube has surpassed Hollywood as far as viewerships, and that's no surprise because all the Hollywood rejects come to YouTube. All the ones that didn't want to sell their asshole, they sold, or sold their asshole and they used and abused up. How did Will Smith rebuild his brand? People forget that Will Smith was on YouTube. He started the YouTube channel. He started having a social media presence, and that's what put him back in Hollywood. Before the Chris Rock slap, I believe that was. Because Jada was talking about he ain't getting no roles no more, and he put himself back into the public eye using social media. You see Martin doing more social media and all that type of stuff. So the reality of it is this about Hollywood. They don't have talent no more. The biggest and the brightest Hollywood talent, a lot of those people, they not selling their souls. I heard Country Rain talk about it. Why would he sell his soul? He already making a bunch of money doing his own thing. So now they got to they got to get straight bets. What did Jay-Z said? He said, what'd he say? Even against all odds, I gave straight bets. I forget what he said. They got to give people straight deals. And without them, coming correct in Hollywood, they're suffering. It's the repetitive, the remake is the new original. When you start talking about the same movies and TV shows coming out, now they talking about bringing back Martin and doing, it just doesn't have any creativity. The writers are trash. The actors are trash. So this is why you see Damon Wayans got to come back. This is why you see Eddie Murphy coming back. It just ain't about the money. They need those people for the money. The thing about boxing is it doesn't have a talent shortage. It doesn't. It has a competition shortage. Everybody being brainwashed Everybody being brainwashed to think nickel and dime, nickel and dime. You know, if Pepsi nickel and dime, they never would be Pepsi. If Coca-Cola nickel and dime, they never be Coca-Cola. The dude who sold Victoria's Secret nickel and dime, and I think he sold Victoria's Secret for $1 million. I think a year later it was worth $500 million. He jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, it's okay to nickel and dime here and there, but at some point you got to go for it. You know, see when you own your shit, that's different. Like in Hollywood, when you do like Country Wayne, they got to pay me to stop nickel and diming because my nickel and dime is home runs. You know, Hollywood got to come with multiple grand slams. That's the difference about it. So boxing got the competition. They got the fighters. They got the product. They don't have the competition. You know, Hollywood, they don't have it, the biggest and the brightest. They don't have it. You know, and all they brightest are people that they refuse to give the spotlight to, and they'll rather lose money. They'll rather lose money than give straight bets, and not have people have to sell their soul and put dresses on and bend over and touch their toes. That's the crazy thing about it. Then people can just go to the internet and showcase their talent, and they regulating that too. They regulating it. It's sad. It's regular. You can drop a song on the internet and they own part of your song. So now you got to sell cassette CDs and vinyls again. It's a nasty place, man. But shout out to them for doing breaking records or coming close to it. Gate and Canelo seen the power of having an American star next to him. You know, but hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the link in the description. Follow me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Amazon, Kick, Twitch, the whole nine. Hit the link in the description. Follow me everywhere. Peace.